Jeremiah 5:22 tells us that the oceans are not going to rise. They're not going to come out of their boundaries. This is obviously directly against what the science is telling you. So who is right? Now, theologically, we know we're supposed to believe in God. But scientists, these super accurate people, these really truthful people, they're telling me that the world's going to collapse and come to an end. Guys, they're pulling the wool over our eyes. When you start studying altimetry, you find all sorts of idiosyncrasies that will not allow proper ocean level height measurement. I'll give you a for instance. For one thing, the satellites that we put overhead that are 800 to 1200 miles up, do you understand they're still in our atmosphere? It's called low Earth orbit. Because it is still in our atmosphere, that means there is some sort of drag on the satellite. So the satellite is pushing through the atmosphere as it is hurtling around at 18,000 miles an hour. But it is coming into contact with the atmosphere, or because it's still in the atmosphere, and it's slowing it down. Because we're dealing with super precise measurements, we need to know exactly how much this satellite is slowing down by so we can calculate the radar signal as it comes down to the earth and bounces back up as it's flying by at 18,000 miles an hour. Okay? So to figure out how fast the satellite is slowing down, you need to know the satellite's current speed, which how are you going to measure that? Which that's problematic. You need to know satellite's current speed. You need to know how big the satellite is. And then you need to know what the drag coefficient of the satellite is. You need to know how piercing it is or how efficient it is as a satellite. But then you also have another problem. The satellite, because it is in the atmosphere, is doing some kind of odd spin to it as well. I don't know how many different ways they spin, but they are spinning. So as they are spinning, as it's traveling through our atmosphere, as it is turning some, as the drag is totally changing at all kind of thing, you can't know how fast the satellite is traveling. You just can't get a good handle on it. So they do what's called a ballistic coefficient, and they do an average speed. Now, I don't know about you, but if we're talking about measurements that we're going to reshape the entire world by, where cultures and countries spend hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to reshape everything, these measurements need to be precise. And to get precise measurements, we don't need to start with averaged ballistic coefficients. This has to skew the end of the equation. You need to know they're pulling the wool over our eyes. Can they measure approximately how many feet up a satellite it is and approximate mile per hour on a satellite? Sure. But can they be so precise to tell you that the ocean has risen a quarter inch this year? Absolutely not.